Hey everybody, I'm Joshua.
And I'm Caleb.
And I would spin Fiji, but it's technically illegal to drive and spin Fiji, if I'm being correct. I know you're used to seeing us in the studio, but we thought what better studio than real life, which is a minivan. Because normally he's carrying around like a dozen tiny little baby Jewish kids in the back. So mazel on that one. We have a special message today, do we not?
Yeah, as you know, current event has happened. We usually don't pick timely topics. I mean, the Bible's always timely, but in the news, you've heard about this big peace plan that's going on with Trump and Israel. It was just unveiled, and many people have a lot of questions. Is this good? Is this bad? What's the biblical basis of all of that? I mean, we know Trump has done a lot for the state of Israel. We know he moved the embassy, the American embassy, to Jerusalem. That was awesome. And we know that he has recognized settlements in Judea and Samaria for the Jews. And he's halted funding to terrorist organizations for the Palestinians that have been funding the annihilation of the Jewish people. So all this is great, but this peace plan, we're wondering, what does the scripture say on it? Well, we're going to have to go back to Genesis to understand about the land and the ownership and what God says about the territories of Israel.
Let's see what the word says here in Genesis 15:18.
Okay.
On the same day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, to your descendants I have given this land from the river of Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates. Genesis 17:8 says, also I give you and your descendants after you the land in which you are a stranger, all the land of Canaan, as an everlasting possession, and I will be their God.
Yeah.
Now, guys, the specifics of the boundaries here that was given to Moses by God, established by Joshua at the conquest of Canaan, was pretty clear and enlarged by King David.
Yeah, see, the boundaries were a lot bigger than the Israel we see now. And what Israel is trying to get in all these peace plans you've seen with the last 100 years, it's little bits here and there. And you're wondering, okay, well, why are they fighting over such small portions of land? Well, the land that God gave through Abraham is, even though he says, I give it to you in your inheritance, it's really God's land.
Right.
It's really, the Jews are leasing this from God, and we see this in Leviticus 25, don't we?
Leviticus says, therefore you shall not oppress one another, but you shall fear your God, for I am the Lord your God, so you shall observe my statutes and keep my judgments and perform them. And you will dwell in the land in safety.
Okay.
Then the land will yield its fruits, and you will eat your fill, and you will dwell there in safety.
Okay.
The land shall not be sold permanently, for the land is mine, for you are strangers and sojourners with me. Guys, if you've ever lived in an apartment, if you've ever rented a house, if you were to try to turn around the very next day and put that house up for lease, put that apartment up for lease, the owner would say, excuse me, what are you doing? You don't own this. It's not your property to sell.
Yeah.
It is yours to lease. This is what we're dealing with.
And the Palestinians are staking claim on this land. They're claiming that this is their territory that was originally called Palestine. Well, that was a lie created by Yasser Arafat many years ago. He was an Egyptian, and he took a play from the history book when Emperor Hadrian, back in 135 AD, was going to really stick it to the Jews. He decided to name the territory of Israel Palestine, after their mortal enemies, the Philistines, to try to just pour salt in the wound, per se. And so the Palestinians, the current Palestinians we have today, they were Jordanian refugees that were ejected out of all these Arab nations. They didn't want them. The Jews let them in, and now they're trying to stake claim over that land. That was Yasser Arafat's plan. Big deal. But the Lord said many times in the Bible, do not divide my land. Do not give it up. We see that warning also in Joel 3, don't we?
Joel 3:2 says, I will gather all the nations and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat. And I will enter into judgment with them there on behalf of my people and my heritage Israel, because they have scattered them among the nations and have divided up my land.
That is known as the judgment of the sheep and goats, right there. The Lord saying, you cut up my land, you're going to be judged for it. And the judgment isn't nice. It's weeping and gnashing of teeth kind of stuff.
Don't want to be a goat, especially when gnashing of teeth is on the table.
Now, take a look at this map we're going to show on the screen. This is a proposed map by the White House of the new state of Palestine, what you see in the green. As you can see, it's very cookie cutter. It's the very center of Judea and Samaria. We know a lot of pastors and ministers, rabbis, people are getting on board saying, hey, the Jews, they're getting the holy sites, they're getting Hebron and Shechem and Shiloh, but, it's still dividing up the land. This is still piecing up God's property, and they don't have a right to do so. You see in 2 Chronicles 6:5-6, this is a very important scripture, is it not, Josh?
Since the day I brought my people out of Egypt, I have not chosen a city in any tribe of Israel to have a temple built so that my name might be there, nor have I chosen anyone to be ruler over my people Israel. But now I have chosen Jerusalem for my name to be there, and I have chosen David to rule my people Israel.
So this is Jerusalem now we're talking about. Why is Jerusalem so important? This city, the eternal city of God, is the capital of Israel. Well, now they're saying that East Jerusalem is going to be the capital of Palestine. That's chopping up God's capital right there, where Messiah is going to rule and reign. We know that in Jeremiah 3:17.
At the time Jerusalem shall be called to the throne of the Lord, and all the nations shall gather to it, to the presence of the Lord in Jerusalem, and they shall no more stubbornly follow their own evil heart.
That's right. And so, lifelong listeners to Zola Levitt, you know that Jerusalem is the city of contention. This is the city where the final battle of Armageddon is going to take place. Everybody wants a piece of the city. They want it divided. Now they're saying they're not going to divide the capital in this new peace plan, yet somehow East Jerusalem is going to be the capital of the Palestinian people.
Guys, Zechariah 12:2-3 says, Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of drunkenness to all the surrounding peoples when they lay siege against Judah and Jerusalem. And it shall happen in that day that I will make Jerusalem a very heavy stone for all peoples. All who would heave it away will surely be cut into pieces, though all nations of the earth are gathered against it. I do not want that on my head. Just gotta throw that out there.
I guess the big question we gotta ask ourselves, Josh, is why is every president from Trump to the past so eager to make a peace process, to be the mediator between peace between the Jews and the Palestinians? Well, it's kind of ironic. You look in Daniel 9:27, and Daniel talks about this great figure that's going to come, and he's going to make a peace treaty with the Jews and the nations, and this peace treaty is going to last for 7 years. And then in the middle of the 7 years, they're going to break the peace treaty. This man who does it is the Antichrist. He's the beast. I was about to
say, doesn't that rhyme with Bantai-Beist? Like, you don't want that to happen. That guy's no good.
So this is the only guy who's going to be able and be successful in making a peace treaty. Why is every president so eager to fill the shoes of the Antichrist? We don't want any part of that, do we?
Well, I think when you look at that, it's obviously showing a clear lack of understanding because it's very clear. There's only one guy who's going to do it.
Yeah.
If you understand scripture, if you understand prophecy, you're either the Antichrist or you're going to fail in your venture. So it's pretty simple to be like, if I'm not the Antichrist, don't try this because I'll fail. Guys, this is the point. This is a holy place to the Father. This is something that he has ordained as his.
Yes.
This is not up for our judgment to say this belongs to this people or that people. He already established who it belongs to.
That's right.
And the only time that is even going to be challenged is in that time that we don't want to even think about right now.
So we're just admonishing you all to pray for your leaders. Pray for Netanyahu. We love this man. Pray that he makes the right decision. Pray for Trump. Pray that he makes the right decision concerning us, that our leaders are led by the Lord. They're led by Scripture. They're led so that the people will be glad and the people will rejoice. And as always, Psalm 122:6 admonishes you to pray for the peace of Jerusalem.
I want to remind you guys, every time we look at somebody else who's making a decision, especially our leaders, and we point our fingers in judgment, remember the pressure that's on you in your daily life.
Yeah.
Now, amplify that pressure on these people who are making decisions for so many.
Yeah.
This isn't a time for us to get angry.
Yeah.
It isn't a time for us to rise up against them. It's a time for us to back them up in prayer, to stand for what's right. This isn't about who's making the choice anymore. This is about what the right choice is, and it's established in the Word.
Yeah. And thank you for watching this wonderful cell phone quality video in my car.
And if you like minivan videos, leave a comment below and we'll talk to the producers and trick them into doing it more often.
See you next time.